Welcome to Brewed. This is a podcast for e-commerce CMOs, brand builders, and marketeers who want to know what really goes into building modern brands. Every episode brings you honest stories and some learnings from the people who are doing the actual work. Today's guest is Adam Greenberg, a Montreal-based entrepreneur wearing many hats, brand builder, entertainer, DJ, and radio host. He's the co-founder of OneBone, a size-inclusive men's apparel brand specializing in big and tall, but welcoming customers of all size. Welcome, Adam, to the podcast. Excited to have you on board. Just take us through your, how does your week go as a founder?
So the week as a founder goes, I'll take you into the personal life a little bit also, waking up. For the past 2 years, I've tried to throw at least 20 minutes of yoga into starting my day, try to get a little mental and physical moment for myself. Then the kids are up right after that or during the yoga while I'm doing it in the living room, hanging out with the kids, getting them ready for school, dropping them off, and then coming into the office. And the week is constantly, lots of different things coming at you with regards to product, with regards to tech, with regards to overall business decisions. And right now, it's myself and a few other partners where we're all kind of like co-founder operators. And the interest is to be working more and more on the business as opposed to in the business. But it's a lot of day-to-day hustling and bustling.
Yeah. And going back to the origin stories, I know we have spoken about it a little and during our dinner, but would love to know. I still show the pics to all my teammates or anybody I met. And that was my first. That was my first concert actually. I've never been to any concert. Not even in India, nowhere. I'm like that nerd, who'll just see things from outside and say, these guys are enjoying. But that was the day I really enjoyed. So
And to put it into perspective, just so anybody who's listening knows, we were at a networking event. We were at a dinner in Vegas, and the concert that we ended up at was Anima, which was at the Sphere in Las Vegas. So the fact that that was your first concert ever is the best first concert to have on a list. That's insane.
Yeah, I it's pretty good. Cool. So hopping on to, I met you and your co-founder, but I just want to understand the origin story of the brand, how you, Matt and Sam came together. How did it all happen? How do you know, this is the right team, this is the right idea, and how did you convince each other?
So we, myself, Matt, and Sam have been family friends it's been about 30 years we know each other. So we all grew up basically like brothers. I mean, Matt and Sam are actually brothers, but for myself, we all grew up together like brothers. And for myself, I was touring as a DJ, and being a bigger guy, 6'3", around 300 pounds, the ability to find clothing that fit well and also looked good was very hard to come by. So instead of me trying to piece things together, I had a friend's mom who was a seamstress and worked on wedding dresses. And she started to custom make my own t-shirts. She started to custom make my own pants. And these were things that I was wearing on stage while emceeing, telling everybody to put their hands up in the air. And instead of my belly showing, now I was fully covered, and the clothing that I was creating was matching the confidence that I had on stage. And the key component here is I would have never turned this into a business. I would have just still been performing. I would have been custom making my own clothes. But Sam, Matt, and their father, started in women's plus size clothing in the late 80s. So they saw me at an event, and his understanding of the market, at least for women, he asked me, "Where'd you get your shirt? It looks great." I said, "I made it myself." He's like, "Whoa, call me tomorrow." And I did. And we spent about a year hitting the ground running, testing different fabrics, creating the pattern specifically for the guy who really has been left out of fashion forever. I just recently saw a report on the highest sales of t-shirt sizes, and it starts with size large, and then it starts go to size medium, and then it's XL, and then it's extra small, and then it's double XL, and then it stops. So the guy who is our core customer starting at my size, we're not even on the list of t-shirt sales, period. So we're really left out of fashion, and that's how it all came to be. They had the business idea. I had the kind of solution idea for myself, and it was just a recipe that led to a lot of success thus far and continues to grow.
That's very insightful, and it was just meant to be.
Yeah.
The moving on to this is as a founder also. I also want to learn more about this.
Yes.
Like every brand is a story, or it starts with a problem statement, and you have a unique insight, and that unique story connects with everybody, and then you kind of fulfill it with your products, your community. And you are the guy who brings in that philosophy, which is, we are not big and tall, we are size inclusive brand. So love to understand your brand philosophy, and it's perpetual. So would just to love to learn more on this.
Sure. So the issue is if you're shopping at the mall, you can go and you can shop and you could find a hoodie and you could find t-shirts and you could find pants, because again, you're in those core sizes that the mall represents. For myself, I can't go shopping at the mall. I used to walk through the mall and just feel different clothes, knowing that there's no chance I could actually fit into them, but it's just to know and understand what I would like to be wearing. And fast forward to the specialty shops that claim that they are for the guy who is left out of fashion, but the fit isn't dialed in. The styling is either you have to dress as though you're retired in Florida, or dress like you're a kindergarten kid, so there's no real product for, mid 30s, mid 40s entrepreneur, somebody who wants to look stylish and show up to wherever they are and look presentable and be seen for the right reasons, as opposed to maybe an unflattering shirt, So that's how it all kind of wraps around. And with regards to, size inclusivity, I think it's just inclusivity, period. I brought up that list of shirt sales, and how do you think a guy feels when they're not even on the list? They're not even included in any way, shape, or form. It makes you feel worse about yourself. It lowers your self-esteem. It lowers your confidence level. And then for you to go about your day and feel that energy and that motivation that so many of us need throughout the day to really lean into that presence that we deserve, it makes it very hard. So that's the vision, is just inclusivity and putting a magnifying glass on somebody who's been left out of fashion for so long. And now there's a solution, and the other thing is, a lot of the time, problem solution, although, it's solving something, sometimes it doesn't necessarily look and feel that cool, but we try to do it with a lot of presence and making sure that, again, the guy feels seen for the right reasons. And I think that's what's been resonating.
We have been working with 200 plus brands.
Yeah.
And every brand founder or a CMO, they're very anal about perfection. That font, the color, that UX, the experience, perfect up to T. We see that not so perfect ads work great. I come across this on Twitter. We read that something you created with an AI ad with a typo.
Yeah.
Just for our listeners and the viewers, how does that work? Because it seems it's working for you.
So, it's interesting because we're going through a bit of a rebrand exercise, and we're photographing our entire product line again, and starting not from scratch, but from a new kind of benchmark. And it definitely comes with a level of you're striving for perfection. But if you're going to wait for perfection, then you're never going to actually execute anything because nothing is perfect. It could be as dialed in as you would want it to be. But if you are striving for perfection and you're only waiting for that, then you're never going to put out anything. You're never going to release any product. You're never going to create an ad. You're never going to create a piece of content, whatever it might be. So I think that striving, or aiming for perfection is a good goal with the knowing and understanding that nothing is perfect. And sometimes if you lean into that, counter perfection, then it allows you to actually move through things quicker. And if you're moving through things quicker, the reality is you're getting closer and closer to what your perception is of perfect. So I think to any founder or really anybody who's trying to figure out and navigate, whether it's business or any industry or life for that matter, you're going to fall short of perfection. And that is perfect, because if you are just striving for perfection, you're not going to put anything out and then nothing exists. So you have to keep going. You have to keep moving through testing, putting things out. And also, much like a song, for example, if there's an artist in the lab creating a song, thinking this is a hit, they actually have no bearings on knowing if a hit is a hit. It's the customer, it's the consumer, it's the audience that will define a song as a hit or not, because they're going to share it and then they're going to share it again and again and again. And then the radio will pick it up and this and that. So you have to just start putting things out there, and that will be the path to becoming more and more perfect. And then guess what? By the time you put those things out and you achieve that level of perfection that you had 6 months ago, your new level of perfection will be far superior than that, So yeah, it's a process. You have to get through that.
So for my understanding, just to summarize it for our viewers, is basically it's speed of iteration and the learning, and the message lands with our audiences rather than that typo. So it's more about communicating and trying to perfect our communication, and somewhere the viewers catch it.
Yeah.
Or the audiences catch it.
Exactly. And to be honest, mistakes are opportunities for community building, because then you'll have people who are like, haha, there's a typo in your AI, blah, blah, blah. But then you'll also have a guy respond and say well, who cares about the typo? Have you tried the shirt? The shirt is incredible, So right there, if you didn't have that typo, that interaction wouldn't have happened, right? Somebody wouldn't have hated on that. And then somebody who is a brand ambassador essentially wouldn't have chimed in and said, don't worry about the typo, get the shirt, because the shirt will change your life. The typo, who cares, that sort of thing.
Yeah, thank you. This is perfect.
Yeah, I agree. Because nothing is perfect.
Yeah, that's the beauty. This is another interesting part. And, we have been following your Insta and other places. And I see that for a brand, content creation is the key, storytelling. And of course, always iterating, figuring out. So would love to understand, what's your approach to content creation, especially in marketing, right? The message that landed this week.
Yeah.
The next week it will fizzle out.
Yeah.
So what's your fundamental philosophy for content creation?
So for the past little while, and we've been, again, we've always been experimenting with content creation, and we've always been changing it up, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, pulling back, launching forward, so we've experimented a lot. It's been about 7.5 years that OneBone is alive on the internet and existing as a brand. Throughout that time, we've tried to do more polished stuff. We've tried to do more behind the scenes stuff, warehouse, office, funny, trending stuff. Now we're about to move into a new chapter for us that we're all very excited about, which comes with a level of finesse, which comes with an extremely dialed in message that will be repeating over and over and over again, instead of us constantly guessing on how to message to our core customer. So I think we have to get through a lot of that exploration before landing and knowing and understanding where the new direction will be. And the other thing to take into account with regards to social media and content creation is that every single day, the algorithm and the portrait of what you're supposed to create changes. The attention level changes. It goes from, oh, okay, well, you better catch them in those first 3 seconds to, no, actually, you need to do long form on YouTube for 4 hours because that's what will captivate people, and live shopping. And so the landscape is ever changing. And again, much like perfection, is if you don't hop in any kind of way and you don't just start creating and making mistakes, then you're never going to know what fits for your niche, and your business and your way of attracting people and potential new customers and curating a community around it.
If you have to just put this in like one line, what would you do? What would you say?
It's similar to the one line of perfection is put stuff out. Don't be so shy. Don't be so nervous. See what happens. And then your next thing that you do will inevitably be better than the thing you did yesterday.
Got it. Now, this is a very personal question. For app as a channel, as a founder, what is the most surprising learning for you?
I think, and we're excited to go on this journey with AppBrew as well, like to make sure that we are not only treating the app like a marketplace, but also treating the app like a community hub and somewhere that a guy can go to for outfit inspo or communicating with, one of the members of the OneBone team or the community itself, and consuming content in the community hub or the app so that the experience is really 360. It's, to think that a customer is going and shopping from your brand every single day is completely out of the question. But to know and understand that somebody could be interacting with your brand every single day without it being, intrusive with regards to email or even text message. You can be dealing with a push notification. You can be interested to just open it up and see what's new and what's happening on the community side of things. I think that's very cool. And I think that has been a core component to our business for a very long time and is only going to become more robust with having exceptional people like yourselves to help us champion those efforts and be extremely excited about the ideas of a brand trying to innovate what is already stagnant,
Somebody came and say, like you should have a channel which you own. But what is that one thing that surprised you? What is that one counterintuitive learning that you had with an app as a channel? Counterintuitive learning, sometimes we think, will it work? Will it not? So one counterintuitive learning that you can share with us.
Oh, it's interesting because like the things that I go directly towards are intuitive, right? Like you would assume that if somebody has your app, they have a higher AOV or a higher order frequency. So those are like the standard things that I would have assumed, I think the constant browsing and somebody opening up the app to check what's going on a more regular basis, I think that is maybe what I wouldn't have assumed in having an app. Where for me, if I backtrack 20 years, I had those lists of blogs and websites that I would get home from class or whatever and load up and check everything and see what's new and what's happening. Whereas I feel like, we've lost that sort of thing to social media, where now with an app, people are going and checking regularly, where I didn't anticipate that to happen. I think that would be the counterintuitive piece of having an app.
Got it. Now is the time for some operational questions and also for the founder perspective. Is like, as per you, what is the hardest part of being a brand and its founder?
I think the hardest part is in being a founder and operator of a brand. I think you're just constantly you're making educated guesses, and And I've been reading, or I just finished reading the book, Thinking in Bets, and it talks about, oh, you know it?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Some
it
of,
talks,
oh, yeah.
yeah, it talks about the differentiation between decisions and results. And I think that's a very key thing for a co-founder to know and understand in trying to build a brand is you're going to make good decisions that will have bad results. And you're going to make bad decisions that will have good results and all the different makeups of that. So I think that is, maybe to reframe it, maybe my one piece of advice is to know and understand that you're going to make a series of decisions. They will have good or bad results. And that I think is like a major learning curve for a co-founder and trying to build a brand.
Yeah. So basically, if I can summarize it for
Yeah.
everybody, being a brand founder, you are constantly taking decisions with limited informations, and only time will tell.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're making decisions. You think they're the correct one based on data or instinct or whatever, but the result could be not great. And then you could feel the opposite. You could feel like, is this a good decision? And the result could be great. So it's just it's a guessing game.
This question is like for other Canadian DTC founders. So like OneBone operates in Canada as well as US. How do you juggle between both the markets?
Well, before May 2nd, it was definitely a lot easier. We pick and pack everything from our warehouse here in Montreal, Canada. So up until tariffs hit, the order of operations were roughly similar between Canada and US. And then, when that happened on May 2nd, it was just a series of day after day after day, operations having to change, logistics having to change, policies having to change, compliance having to change, all these different things, which just, it made it far more intricate, complex, handling different markets. Obviously, if any business owner is out there listening to this that is in multi-market, they know they all act and behave differently. So it's basically trying to run the same formula and systems multi-market while having different complexities. So I think it's challenging. It has become more challenging, like I said, since May. But again, much like the other themes of what we've been talking about, you learn to adapt and you learn to make possibly the best decision for the best outcome. And that's kind of what's happening right now. So you're constantly learning, you're constantly shifting, you're constantly adapting. And for us, 70% of our business is in the US. So it's not a small part of the pie. It's our core business. So that's been a huge hurdle to navigate.
Cool. One question is like one story, one experiment. Like you talk always in terms of bets, constantly experimenting. What is that one experiment that was very phenomenal? What is that one story, that experiment worked like a magic for you? Will that something you would like to share with other brand founders, CMOs? That this is the story, I want to tell.
Yeah. Like that like changed the landscape of OneBone or
Yes.
I think I think it's that moment of experimenting with going all in. And again, you read it in the intro, and I was a radio host and a DJ and all of these things. And my partners were working in the family business in manufacturing clothing and stuff. And so they were, side hustle OneBone while also maintaining a role in manufacturing. I myself was side hustle in entertainment and stuff. And the experiment of, okay, let's together go all in on this and see what happens. And then, it just starts to expand from there and grow. And I think for co-founders or founders who have jobs, have things they need to pay for, have to support a family, whatever it might be, obviously you need to make the calculated decision to not have any of that go, so negatively. But I think that moment when you go all in on something that you truly believe is solving a major problem for a core amount of people, I think that's an experiment that I hope most co-founders or founders get an opportunity to experiment with.
So, like, just to summarize, is like our life is outcome of our belief and choices.
Yeah, that's the perfect summary. Yeah.
Okay, based on our interaction, I see you were very, he's the guy who's very intuitive, who's very tech first, and who loves to experiment. Like, how will AI change the brand building? Like, what is that one impact that AI will do? Which you see is like a major change, which people are not seeing right now, but probably in 6 months or an year.
I think just I think just how we operate on the internet and how we operate as people is going to continue to change drastically. Obviously with the introduction of GEO and AEO and the importance of being visible, in ChatGPT for shopping, for example, I think all of these things are going to shuffle up the cards quite a bit. And the standards of how brands used to operate with regards to the shopping experience and being exposed to something on a TV ad or then a radio ad or then a social media ad and then clicking and going to the website and transacting. And even with regards to the app, like how the app interacts with people from an AI standpoint, So I think that the shopping experience is going to evolve in an exceptional way. And I believe that brands are going to basically have to create, AI personas that can basically become your first to first person concierge for everything that is within that brand. So for example, with OneBone, if I created an AI agent, Adam, and he was the guy who took you through everything that is OneBone, whether it be through an SMS, whether it be through an email, whether it be through push notification, and then boom, come in and chat with me in the app. Like, I think that it's just going to change so drastically how we interact with the internet, to the point where you're, again, even on the internet right now, you're even unsure if something is real or not or whatever. It's going to break all of that for us. And we're not going to start to question what's real or what's not. We're just going to know that it's all basically AI and human collaboration, So I think that that's just going to be happening more and more, and it's going to drastically change how we move around the internet.
So probably like I'm setting up a time post holidays for Adam in OneBone app as a concierge.
Love it.
We'll just we'll set up a time. I think we have already taken care of the video commerce, but Adam as an agent, we already have all the backend and the context.
Yeah.
We just need your time to act on it, like to execute it.
I'll spend 24 hours on a microphone and a camera, and then you could just replicate everything that I said, and away we go.
So now, like especially like community building is like a core of brand building. So there is a way you have built your community.
Yeah.
Like would love to understand that. And if you have to do it again, what is something that you'll do differently?
So if I was starting today is day zero, I think first and foremost, there's a lot that I would do similarly. And
okay,
the way OneBone started, and even in the first year of OneBone, we didn't run a single paid media ad, not one. And all it was, that this is before I had kids. This was before I was married even, but I would, sit on my phone at night in bed or on the couch or whatever. And I would literally just DM people that were using the hashtag big and tall or size inclusive or offensive lineman or, whatever it might be. And we were just basically messaging people even before it launched to say, hey, do you think if something like this existed, it would be something you'd be interested in? And the reaction was automatic. It was exceptional. And then what I did was I, first of all, added them to just a list in my phone on notes. And I was just like, and then by the time, 6 months had gone by of DMing people and be like, hey, would this be something you'd be interested in? I had a list of like probably 500 people, just literally just their Instagram handles. And they were all people that said, yeah, I'd be interested for sure, for sure, for sure. And then when we launched the brand, and then I would keep up those conversations as we were working on the brand. Not even about the brand, just, hey, I saw this post or I saw whatever, and just becoming friends and interacting with them and building real concrete relationships in the mix, by the way. And then when we launched the brand, it was a no-brainer for them. They were already invested. They already knew that there was a solution coming, and they already felt like they weren't buying from somebody who they didn't know, they didn't trust, they didn't whatever. They were buying from people that they had already spoken to, they built a relationship with. They were people that weren't asking them for anything, just their feedback and are you interested? So I would probably do that. And then I would supercharge it by just blasting content on TikTok and like trying to use that megaphone and, get 200 views, 200 views, 200 views, 200 views, and keep going, keep going, keep going, not worry about the views. And then that one video that all of a sudden has 250,000 views and now there's so many people buzzing around you, then you go and create that same interaction and engagement with those people. And now you've supercharged the DM list, and that's how I would do it. So pretty much the same way.
So you will do the same stuff. It is just that, you will use to amplify the message using TikTok. That's it. So it's basically the medium which gets you to more people fastest. You will use it. But again, the approach would be like authentic one-on-one conversation.
To me, that's how the world still goes round. It's much like you and I, had I received a cold call or a cold email, would I have responded to you? Probably not, but if we ended up in the same room eating dinner and then at the Sphere in Vegas, it's like, oh, well, okay, now I know this guy. This is somebody who I do want to work with, and whatever he's working on, I want to be a part of it because he's excited about innovating also. So let's work on this together,
Authentic conversations over being cold. Oh, cool. One customer story, every founder has their one customer story. You go through highs and lows, but there is one customer story that inspires us, that every customer is like a god, every customer is great, but that one customer story that you want to share with the world.
So funny because as you have that little 30-second preamble of the question, literally hundreds of customer stories have come flooding to my head. So much so that like it happens so consistently every day that like people's lives are changed by OneBone and by the clothing that they're wearing and the confidence that they finally have. But I think one, and it's bittersweet or mostly. It's the one that's standing out the most right now. And we had an email from one of our customers' mother, and young guy. He was in his 30s and he had passed away. And she sent us a message and she said, my son, X, Y, and Z, and so tragic. And we were getting ready to bury him. And we didn't feel comfortable putting him in a suit because he was never in a suit. He was always wearing OneBone because that was what he was most comfortable in. And they buried their son in OneBone. And I literally, so, and we've been in touch since then. That was a few years ago, but that is exceptional to me. The concept that we changed this man's life or a small part of it and giving him confidence and comfort on a day-to-day basis, so much so that his mom knew how important the brand and the clothing line was to him. That definitely rocks me. And
this, it's very inspiring. This is the most inspiring story I have heard till now.
Yeah. I mean,
till now in my life.
on the flip side, we've had so many people send us, proposal photos of them on one knee wearing OneBone. And we have so many wedding photos and people walking into their wedding or at their wedding, men holding their newborn baby in the hospital wearing OneBone, so there's so many things like that. There's so many, we have like a little group chat and we send whenever we see a great review or like something, and we call these guys up and we're like, thank you so much. We're constantly surprised by how much it's changing so many people's lives that it's an exceptional feeling.
Wow. This is great. I'm getting to know you, OneBone.
Yeah.
And like a lot of respect for the story we are creating for everybody.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like, this section is kind of, we want you to imagine something. So like someone, like, I'll just put it the words it has, the way we have written it out.
Sure.
If someone handed you a blank canvas and said, disrupt something new, and this is in the context with OneBone, what would you paint? You're not constrained with the limitations of the things like capital, time, resources. It's all infinite. You have a canvas and you have to just like put in a vision, like, future vision.
Like we're saying shoot for the stars here, right?
Yes.
I think if the canvas was blank, which it is, but if capital wasn't a thing, and if we had to do something that, I guess impacts the world, which is what we're striving to do, is to be a more inclusive world. I think maybe it would be to help influence and help transition all brands that provide clothing to change the way they see sizing. And again, the concept of who's small, who's medium, who's large, who's extra large, who's extra, extra large, who made that decision to make somebody feel small or to make somebody feel that there isn't even a word for their body type. It's actually extra, 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 extra. Terrible feeling. So if there was a way to make the mall or shopping experiences, not just for OneBone, but for everyone, to be more inclusive or to understand more concretely the psychological impact that it has to be labeled as that, I would say that would be a pretty cool impact on the world.
When I see OneBone, there is like 1, 2, 3 kind of labeling in the sizing.
Yeah.
So you are you'll put into the numerical values, which is like, that, or like, what would be the mandate from your side?
Yeah, exactly. It would almost be like every brand is fit approved by OneBone, and again, this sizing isn't small, medium, large, extra large. It's to use a new sizing structure where, again, I don't have to look at the top selling t-shirts in athletic wear and be completely left out from the conversation. Like I don't exist. Like you don't see me. Like I don't belong. That to me is like the goal of what we're trying to solve, is to make people feel more included, more seen, to feel their presence as a strength, not as a weakness, and to be able to move throughout their day in confidence and with as much dignity as possible, because I think that will actually make a way better world. And I think people will interact differently and feel better about themselves, and therefore be able to communicate better with other people. And we should all just try and just be a little bit better every day. And that's what I would paint on that canvas. I would make a red circle with a line and XL. It would be a thing of the past.
Wow. Probably this is either this has gone already on a post or it is going tomorrow on the post.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to make it right now, actually.
Okay. Uh, these are like two simple questions, like a
Sure.
closing question. One, as a founder, you have been like juggling multiple things. And one thing I learned from you is that like your morning routine, just like waking up in the morning, going for, and I'm trying to do it too. Like, so my daughter she's like now 15 months. Now
Yeah.
she has learned to speak and she says Papa all the time. And now I like, so before she wakes up, I go to a gym. I also am trying to do like a 10-minute kind of a meditation every day.
Yeah.
But uh, I think that routine helps me balance. I'm learning to balance. I'm a young entrepreneur, like 3 years into the journey. But what is your advice on a personal philosophy? Running a brand is so hard, and especially for you. What is your advice for other founders? How to balance life?
Man, it's so hard. It's you're constantly trying to navigate it, especially again, like, young dads. And the, I was in therapy and, talking through life, and, my therapist said, you're starting a relationship as husband and wife. You're starting being a parent, and you're also starting to operate and run a business. And the context that he gave me in this is that each one of those things independently require all of your time and attention in order for you to be the best husband you could be, or to be the best father you could be, or to be the best business owner you could be. And here you are spreading yourself amongst those three. And that's not even to include any social life or yourself. And what he explained is that, of course, you're not going to have the confidence that you can do any of those things because you've never done any of them before. What you have to work on, and what is something that has been ingrained in me for forever, and I think we share this as partners at OneBone, is you have to at least be confident that you're going to do whatever it takes to figure it out. And so if you have the confidence that you're going to figure out how to be the best dad you could be, and how to be the best husband you could be, and how to be the best business owner you could be, or the best friend, or the best whatever endeavor you're trying to work on, it would be that. It would be to give yourself some grace, know and understand that you don't have the confidence that you can do it because you've never done it, but to have the confidence that you're going to figure it out, and you'll do it. And then hopefully we're all on the other side in our 50s and 60s or whatever it might be, feeling confident that, oh, I'm confident in knowing how to be a parent for a kid under 20 because I've done it. And I know I'm confident that I know how to build a successful business because I did it. And you have, years in a relationship or whatever it might be. So I think it's that. It's give yourself some grace, give yourself some patience, try to create some balance. And it's something that I'm struggling with every day, honestly, is the personal reset, and the breathing, and the mindfulness, like you said, and the yoga, and things that recharge our battery as opposed to just constantly draining it. I think as founders and hustle mentality, we don't give ourselves enough time to breathe. And I think the time to breathe is actually where the scaling happens. And I don't give myself enough time to breathe. So I'm working on it.
Yeah, I think this is very important, like especially like having right intentions, accepting that we need to improve, give our best. Yeah, this is very helpful. And the last question is one line you will sell it to every founder, whether it's a brand founder or a SaaS founder or any founder. What's your one line of advice?
Every loss is a win.
Wow. So there are no defeats. There are only learnings.
Exactly. A win you can see and understand very clearly. A loss is a win also if you frame it as such, and if you learn from it and you progress from it.
Got it. So every loss is a learning opportunity. Build on it.
Yeah.
Cool. I think yeah.
I think I just heard recently, every lesson starts with an L. Yeah. So I can't take credit for that one, but it's a good one.